There's obviously an incentive for manufacturers, producers who are facing a 10 to 12 year development phase, which is common for innovative pharmaceuticals, to seek, if at all possible, a quicker route. And medical devices is one where you go through a CE marking procedure, and foodstuffs is another. If you can have a product which is marketable as a food, then again that has additional benefits. So some nutritional supplements and whatever. And the issue is the fact that a product can become a medicinal product either by the way it's presented or its function. And therefore there's a developing degree of case law, some old case law and developing case law on whether or not a product is a medicinal product, and the position is that if there's a default position, it is as a medicinal product, as the most heavily regulated classification of product. I think the biggest development, and what everybody's talking about at the moment, is the extent to which those who ask, whether they be competitors or others, to access the clinical trial data of those products that have been approved. There is a case going on at the moment, or two cases in fact, when AbbVie and Interbune are challenging a decision by the European Medicines Agency to release data to a competitor, and there is, as I say, developing jurisprudence whereby the court, the General Court, originally said the European Medicines Agency was wrong because it effectively, as it said, this was infringing fundamental rights. And now the CJEU, the European Court, has ruled that by saying that simply having fundamental rights doesn't deprive you or remove the obligation of the innovators to establish the irretrievable loss as a result of the disclosure. So that's that case law, and the fact that the draft clinical trial regulation is looking to develop a database of clinical trial data. It's probably the most important area from the regulatory perspective for the industry at the moment. The most challenging part of the job is especially when one is dealing with American clients who have sometimes a not complete understanding of those areas of the law that are harmonised and unharmonised, to both explain those areas and where the law is harmonised, and also to ascertain and indeed answer the questions from a national perspective in those questions that aren't harmonised. This is obviously very much a regulatory issue. I mean, for instance, if you're talking about clinical trials, which is very much at the beginning of the stage process, the law is really very effectively harmonised. If you're talking about pricing and reimbursement, for instance, then we have 28 member states, all of which have their own pricing regime, and no law firm, I wouldn't have thought, has an office in each of those 28 jurisdictions who understand life sciences and pharmaceuticals, and dealing with those international questions, so cross-member state questions where there is no harmonisation, does require a lot of liaising with correspondent law firms. Yeah, this is very much reflecting the wish of the preference for manufacturers to be classed as medical device. It is an easier route. This particular case was involving a reversal of a determination by a competent authority that a product which they originally had down, which was a vaginal product, which was for which they originally classed as a medical device, they decided from evidence that they received elsewhere that it was a medicinal product. Clearly, that would have meant a huge amount of extra testing for the manufacturer in terms of having to jump through the hurdles of 2001-83 as opposed to the lesser hurdles of 93-42, and the fact that different member states can reach different conclusions, and that if a product is classed as a medicinal product in a country, therefore effectively essentially similar products with the same method could not subsequently be classed as a medical device. It's not a surprising decision, but it's an important one to have clarified. When the promise was still there, I'd love to have been a professional tennis player, but I petered out at about club level.